Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the full moon in Sagittarius that happens on the 23rd of May 2024. Thanks for joining me. I couldn't film at the other location today. They're doing some works on the cliff on the rock face. They're like drilling into it, so I'm in this little bay again. The chart you see next to me here, that's a snapshot of the sky at the moment this full moon will take place. I'm going to analyze the chart to see how the planets interact and what energy they create amongst themselves and how that's going to influence you during this period. And then I'll also go through each sign of the zodiac from Aries through to Pisces to give you a specific message for your zodiac sign. Okay, so I always mention this, but a new moon and a full moon, as far as I'm concerned, it's a 3-day event. It's not here 1 minute and then gone the next. So in this case, a full moon, the moon is waxing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets to this completion point in Sagittarius, and then it releases everything and it celebrates and it showers us with the energy. So that's why a lot of people often sense the full moon, particularly when it comes to sleep or being able to shut off. So you're going to receive a lot of fire energy here that comes in and prompts you to look at the future and to look at how you're making progress. Same thing happens with a new moon, where the moon is this little crescent and it wanes away and away and turns pitch black. And the new moon is often experienced as well by people as a sense of a void, or a space is open and now it's up to me to kind of fill that space. So in this case, it's a full moon. We have the moon at 2 degrees in Sagittarius. So the moon in itself, I always mention, is what you can access naturally via your emotions, what feels very familiar and comfortable. And the sun is what you're striving towards, and it's what you'd like to embody and what you associate with having power in your life, right? So the moon in Sag at 2 degrees is very much about, I want to go on an adventure. I want to find something that's new, that I haven't explored, something that's meaningful. And I want to kind of find something in life by using my own energy that's important to me, that will surprise me. I don't want to plan every detail. I want to be carefree, and I want to be spontaneous, and I want to live my life in the present moment. And at 2 degrees, 1 and 2, as far as I'm concerned, is a relationship, and it's about connecting you to another person or another thing or a place. So I want to go on an adventure in a very literal sense. So I want to go traveling and visit places I've never visited, or in an intellectual sense, I want to study something new where I'm not an expert and I want to broaden my horizons in that sense. Or I want the adventure to be a new relationship in my life. I want to connect with another person, get to know that person, and kind of share my life experience. So as far as the moon is concerned here, it's very optimistic, it's very self-contained, it's very self-sufficient, and it says, do you know what, if I use all of my God-given strength and energy and I set a particular goal for myself, then I'm able to move towards that goal and accomplish it. So this is wonderful in the sense that it gives you such great confidence that things that would usually scare you or would seem impossible now seem very doable, and actually you can implement things that seem almost too big in scope. On the flip side of that, if you're so confident and if you're motivated towards pursuing certain things in your life, one, it's important not to overload yourself and to prioritize, to kind of do one thing at a time and then the next thing. And second of all, it could create some friction between other people if you seem like you don't need anybody. You know, if another person is somewhat insecure and they need reassurance that you're around and that you care for them and all these things, if that person suddenly notices that you withdraw emotionally and you now completely devote yourself to your own mission and you're doing that on your own, certain people in your life could be threatened by that and could kind of contact you and could check in on you and say, hey, you know, is everything okay? Are we still good? It's that kind of thing, because it'll be very much out of character for a lot of people to just say, do you know what? During this period, I'm just focusing on my life purpose. How am I going to implement my life purpose? And I don't really want a lot of noise around me while I'm doing that. So look out for people who try and kind of pull you back in, or who are really threatened by you doing something independently. It can be care, and it can be, you know, being concerned about what you're doing and that you'll do well and not be disappointed and stuff. But a lot of the time it can also be that insecurity and an attempt to control. And in the most sinister way, I would say, someone who doesn't want you to succeed and who wants to keep you at the level you're at now because they're at the same level. That's the kind of thing that can become very apparent to you. And once you have a realization like that, it really takes the power out of a relationship or the grip someone can have on you, because the bubble is kind of burst and you can't go back into it and see it the way it was. So when it comes to your relationships, pay attention at the kind of insights you gain during this 3-day period and listen to those, because this is about, I want people around me who cheer me on when I'm doing something that's not guaranteed or risky or that's really important to me. I want people who want to see me grow and want to see me thrive and develop as a person. So look at those people and also look at the people who are doing the opposite and kind of take mental notes. The thing is, it's kind of judgmental to kind of look at things in that sense and say, well, you know, they're trying to keep me down so that I don't leave or whatever it may be. Play that by ear, because obviously being overly judgmental isn't a good thing. But having no judgments around mistreatment is also not a good thing. So I think it's about finding a happy medium. And if something really clicks for you and it's like, wow, this person really doesn't want me to succeed, then really honor that and think it over a little bit more. It's very unlikely that you misjudge a situation like that. And then we have the sun, also 2 degrees in Gemini. So Gemini, also a masculine element, air and fire. So both of these are asking you to take things that are going on internally and to express them, to get them out of you and to put them into the physical world. So whether that's via Sagittarius, I'm exploring and I'm gaining knowledge in order then to express that knowledge in my own unique way. Or it's Gemini, which says, do you know what, I have a lot of ideas and I'm inspired and I have a voice, I know how to write. It's really down to me to express my point of view. And again, at 2 degrees, there's a desire to connect with other people. So I think this is ultimately an opportunity via these 2 masculine elements and this huge amount of energy to find whatever it is you're looking for, whatever is part of your mission in life or something that you have dreamt about for a long time. If you want to have a degree, or you want to live in Ibiza, or you want to have a loving relationship, if you want to create your own family, you know, all of these kind of things, you'll know that this is something you want, is important to you. No one else is going to know that because it's something that occurs for you without any words or explanation. And for a lot of us, it takes a while to figure it out anyway, as in, oh, I do want children, or I do want to travel the world, or whatever it may be. It can take years to kind of figure that out. But on this day, it's about saying, I honor my own desires, my own mission in life. And what I'm interested here is ultimately connection. I want to use all this fiery, meaningful energy in order to connect with something that's going to reflect where I am in life right now, but also that encourages me and wants to be a part of the future where I expand even more. So with that, it's a good idea to be around other people, to express your ideas and to listen to what they have to say. The 2, for both placements, it really says to me that the adventure or the information that you express, it could be triggered by another person, either talking to you or presenting you with a plan that they have. It may prompt something in you that says, oh, okay, this is something we have in common, this is something we can connect about, and go from there. So I really think it's about honoring your own desires and your dreams, but it's particularly focused on that element of connection. And I think mainly it's through another person. It can be a place, as in I want to find my happy place by, you know, driving around or taking the train. That's really important, I feel. You know, when you're doing like meditative, spiritual kind of work. So for instance, let's say you want to meet your spirit guide. So you close your eyes, you count yourself down from 10 to 1, and you go to your place. So it could be a forest or a beach or a house with a nice wood fire in the, you know, fireplace. the same way you pick that kind of environment spiritually to do that kind of work, to meet your animal guides or your spirit guide or your ancestors or whatever it may be, I would say that there are also physical locations in the world that will give you a similar sense of being connected. So if you don't know if you're happiest, climbing a mountain or going to the beach or being in a valley surrounded by green, it's a good opportunity to explore and to find, hey, this is kind of an environment that suits me physically, spiritually, emotionally. It kind of gives me something. And it's the same thing. It's down to you to explore and to get in the car, and then you can connect with something that is going to provide meaning to you. Okay, so let's see what else is going on. The moon forms a few relationships. So it sextiles Pluto, also 2 degrees in Aquarius. Pluto in Aquarius is the rebirth of ideas, the desire to be of service to humanity, to make a positive contribution. But it's also very scientific and academic in its view of info, as in, these are the ideas and this is how we actually build it, right? It's not fanciful, it's not impractical. So that is going to inspire you to go on this new adventure. It's like if you add a lot of air to a fire, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So that connection kind of takes a small little campsite fire and it turns it into a bonfire. So you're not going to be lacking energy during this period. And again, when you have this much energy, it can spill out as frustration or irritation if you feel that others are deliberately trying to block you or stand in your way. So just watch out for that and kind of keep an eye on your temper. There's nothing good that's going to come out of a blow up. It's just going to prevent you from moving forward in the direction you want, and it's going to waste your energy. So try and avoid that. Then we also have the moon forming a trine with Neptune at 29 degrees in Pisces. So Neptune is the dream planet. It's the planet of the collective unconscious. It's what connects all of us via our minds. And again, that's a concept I really love. So when I'm sitting there meditating, I'm connected to every other person on the planet meditating in that moment. But it doesn't just have to be meditation. If you're eating an ice cream next time or something, then just think, how many people on the planet are eating an ice cream right now? And there's something to that, as seeing yourself as a larger whole. For me, it takes the pressure off and it gives me a sense of belonging. So Neptune is in Pisces, which is the sign it rules. So it really provides you with with the ability to connect to other people, to yourself, to places, to ideas. And it does that in a way that's gentle and that supports you in kind of stepping outside of your comfort zone. And it just says, here you go, why don't you look at this? It might be important. It's at 29 degrees, 2 and 9 is 11, master number of service. So the water planet, Neptune, is doing you a favor by saying, here you go, here are all the things that you care about and that you will find fulfilling. Take notes, make a list, because you're about to go off on this adventure. Neptune provides the options. So use your imagination, and again, it's about being informed via your inner library, the Akashic records, rather than the actual human physical library or the instructions someone else is giving you. So this is really about coming to your own conclusions in your own time. The moon then also sesqui squares, so it's 135 degrees away from Mars. It's 17 degrees in Aries. Okay, Mars is ambition. It's what I want right now, what I'm not going to compromise on. And in Aries, it's in the sign that it rules. And think of this as sunrise, as in I have just been created at sunrise. I've got 12 hours ahead of me, or however long. And it is down to me to now explore this world and to bulldoze anything that stands in my way out of my way. It's completely focused on the self. It likes to compete. It likes to win when it competes. It likes to realize its own ambitions, and it wants more and more and more and more. And if it doesn't get more, it's not going to say, oh, okay, I accept that. It's going to say, well, I want more, so I'm going to find someone else who can provide this, or I'm going to find another location. It's relentless. It drives you to walk your own path. And it does that because it says you have a particular talent, you have a purpose. And sometimes you have to kind of push your way to find that purpose. And here Mars is at 17 degrees, so 1 and 7 is 8, that's strength in numerology. So Mars gives you total strength, but with Chiron sitting next to it, there's also the promise that if you realize your ambitions and your dreams, it will heal things that have happened to you in the past. And let me know what you think of that, because I'm of two minds about it. If I say, in the past I've had disappointments, let's say in relationships, right? And here this full moon in Sagittarius comes along and it says, hey Greg, the past is gone. It's time for you to go on another adventure. It's time for you to find a relationship that works for you and that's fulfilling and it is what you've always dreamed of having. Then Mars in Aries would say, okay, do that. Then, go and meet people and talk to them, blah, blah, blah. But Chiron on top of Mars says that not only is this going to be a wonderful thing for you to experience in the here and now, it's also going to make up for all of those disappointments in the past. And I don't really know whether that's right or wrong. Let me know in the comments. Ultimately, in the present and in the future, it's better to have good things. Whether they amend the past or not doesn't really matter. Anyway, okay. To me, I think, because if I have like the soulmate in the here and now, does that make up for the past disappointments, or is it just good enough that I'm really fulfilled now? Okay, so I think I'm splitting hairs with that one. Then we also have obviously the sun and the moon opposing, but we also have the moon opposing the other planets that sit next to the sun. So we've got Venus, the planet of love and creativity, ruler of Taurus and Libra, at 29 degrees. Then we have Jupiter, the lucky planet, growth, good fortune, success. That's also at 29 degrees in Taurus. And Uranus at 23 degrees in Taurus. Uranus is about the world is not fixed. Your circumstances are results or effects of past decisions. Look through your current circumstances, see them as temporary, make the big concrete decisions in the here and now that will bring more freedom into your life and go with that. And then with Venus and Jupiter on top of that, also in Taurus, you can really be of service by getting creative about your life. So if everyone in your family has always been an accountant, and that's all that's ever been expected of you, one person in that family, sooner or later, is going to say, well, actually, I know there's an expectation, but I want to paint mandalas, okay? And no one would have instructed that person to do that. It's Venus, the planet of creativity, and this is what you love to do. It kind of comes from within and it says, why don't you try drawing, or why don't you try landscape architecture or design, or whatever it is you like to do, right? So it helps you pinpoint what's really important to you, who or what you want to connect with, and how that will serve you. So it's kind of like, this is a full moon where the planets are stopping for a moment and they're saying, you're about to start a new chapter. Let's get really clear on who you are and what you like and what you don't like, and let's tailor make the path ahead into your future. Let's make that easier for you. Let's take the bumps out of the road. Let's ensure you have a smoother ride. And also that you don't need to make a U-turn on and have to start all over again. You're not going to be misled here, is what I'm trying to say. And then Jupiter also is at 29 degrees in Taurus. So Taurus is an earth sign that's fixed. And it's about having a sense of, I have solid ground under my feet, right? The world is accessible to me. I can take things that are structured and I can restructure them. And with Jupiter at 11 degrees, it's really like, if you want to help yourself, then don't look at your life as it is now externally. Instead, look at the environment that's happening for you internally and see how you can imprint that inner vision onto the real world. I mentioned this before, but those screen prints, silk prints things? You put a piece of fabric down, you put like a square with a net on it and a pattern, and then you put the paint over, and the image on the net is transposed onto the t-shirt, and then you have a print. So that's what I'm saying here. Look at the idealized utopia that you have in your mind or in your heart. Wouldn't it be nice if this were to come true, right? And commit to that, move ahead with it, and sooner or later, Jupiter and Venus and Uranus in Taurus are saying, sooner or later, those things will become real. They could become real straight away, or they could become real over the next few weeks or months. The important thing is that you imprint this vision that exists in spiritual truth, because it exists in your ecosystem, right? And you get that out of yourself and you put it out into the world. And with that, you'll be helping yourself and other people who get to benefit from this wonderful new environment or relationship that you've created. Okay, so those are the relationships the moon forms. But if you look at the center of the chart, right, you'll see that there's the wheel in the middle. You'll see that there's a big blue triangle here. So we've got a trine, two things being 120 degrees away from each other. We've got a trine between the ascendant in Virgo and Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. They trine the Sun in Gemini, Venus, Jupiter, and Uranus in Taurus. Those planets then trine Pluto at 2 degrees in Aquarius, and Pluto trines back to the ascendant in Virgo and Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. Now this is unusual in itself because a grand trine, that's what the big blue triangle is called, usually exists in one element, either air or fire or water. It's not as common to see it in two elements. Here it's air and earth. And again, a grand trine is always a big talent, something that's delivered to you via this cocktail of the planets and the energy they mix up amongst themselves. That's what is delivered, right? And the combination of all these things mean that you have all of these wonderful new ideas and this desire to connect. And the earthy stuff then is that moment of, okay, I think it, therefore I do it. I think, therefore I am. Or I think, therefore I do. So if you find yourself being busy, working things out, that's a good sign that you're kind of hearing that voice and you're making it happen for yourself. But then if you look at the grand trine, on one side of it, it has two sextiles sitting on the side between Venus and Taurus and Pluto and Aquarius. And when a grand trine turns into, via these two sextiles on top, it turns into a kite. And a kite is a major area of talent. And it's so strong that if you use it, you'll really see the effects of it for a long time in future. If you have a grand trine or a kite in your birth chart, that's really amazing, you know, because that is a huge talent, a talent that is outside of the norm. So if you haven't looked at your birth chart, and if you're someone who's like, am I talented, am I not talented? If you see these things showing up, then you're massively talented. But anyway, so the two sextiles, they include Neptune in Pisces, and it means that you're not just supported by your intellect, but you're seeing all of these images and these truths and these idealized situations because Neptune allows you to use your imagination to get creative with your life and then to truly be of service to you by saying you don't need to accept what is, you can manifest whatever it is you like. And that's really the core of this, that you're the generator, you're the person creating the effects. You're not the person who's meant to sit back and to listen and to respond to things that are presented to you. It's about you taking action rather than being on the receiving end. So active rather than passive, right? So with the kite, the big talent is that you can have all of these ideas and use your imagination around your ideas and then turn them into practical things very easily and very quickly. We also have almost a mystic rectangle, right? A mystic rectangle is made up of two trines that are parallel to each other and then two sextiles on either side which close the gaps and create this big blue rectangle, right? And a mystic rectangle really is what it says on the tin. It's like you're being supported by the higher realms in a particular area. This one isn't quite there because one of the sextiles is missing, but it's still close enough for me to take notice, and it connects the rising in Virgo with Black Moon Lilith in Virgo. They trine over again to the Sun and Venus and Jupiter. That then sextiles Neptune, and Neptune trines the Moon in Sagittarius. So via the earthy stuff, that's the path that has appeared before you. And via the Moon in Sagittarius and Neptune, it's the confidence to start walking this path and to say, this is something I really care about. The outcome isn't guaranteed, but I'm going to try it and see if I can succeed at this. It's kind of like the Chariot in the Tarot. And the message here is that not only should you make an attempt and have a go, but it's saying that you're pretty much guaranteed to connect to or with whatever it is that's most important to you at the moment. So please do take that risk. You can make your life richer, you can add more love and more positivity and more beautiful environments into it. So this full moon is a celebration, and then using all of that wonderful energy to take you places that you want to be, literally or metaphorically. Okay, anything else? Let's see. We have a T-square between the rising and Black Moon Lilith in Virgo, Neptune in Pisces, And it peaks, so two squares on top of the opposition, peaks with the midheaven in Gemini. So the thing about this is that a lot of energy and friction is around what do I express? Is it practical? Do I have enough knowledge? And are my thoughts and ideas, is it possible to implement these, or are these fanciful notions that will never work? So that T-square, it's like an internal fact checker that looks at all of your ideas and dreams for the future, and in a very objective, reasonable way says this is possible, even though it may seem somewhat grand, this is not possible. So you've got everything you need here really to completely operate on all these different levels, and the Sun in Gemini, the twins, is going to allow you to multitask very well anyway. But you're really on top of everything, and you don't need anybody else to come to a conclusion. So whatever it is you decide or feel in your bones as the truth, around this time of the full moon, really pay attention to it. It's what you really feel. It's not just an idea that's going to change in a few days. This is what you really feel, and you can trust it. Okay, strongest mode of the day is mutable. So it's about seeing things as flexible, not set in stone. And the strongest element is earth, which is the most literally grounded of all the elements. And that's a nice combo because it's almost like you can see beyond the earth. You can see through objects. What I mean by that is you don't take things that are here today in the flesh, so to speak, so seriously, because they're just remnants of the past or remnants of past decisions. The decisions you make now, the intangible ideas, that's really the foundation. That's where it is concrete. That's something where you can build. So it's interesting that the unmanifest is much more solid than physical, earthy things. So focus on that inner process. It's going to have a natural effect to your environment, to the things that you're connecting to and with. Okay, so let's have a look at each sign of the zodiac then, starting with Aries. You'll immediately know what action you can take to heal your finances and to create ongoing security moving forward. So the dream for you, Aries, may be how can I create more abundance and secure it? If you're an Aries who works in the field of communication, or you have to kind of use your own ideas to figure things out, that will work really nicely. And you're going to understand how you can capitalize on things that already exist in your life, but that you're not getting paid for. You'll understand what will click for you is how you can monetize certain things. Taurus, you're able to feel a sense of confidence in both yourself and in what you do for a living. If you've taken, or if you've considered taking on another job or creating your own work, self-employment, sole trader, you'll be able to juggle more on this day and for the next month than you usually could. So if you've got an idea of, maybe at the weekends I want to put up a stall on top of my day job during the week, the next 28 days are going to provide you with a lot of energy. It's very unlikely that you become overwhelmed. So if you want to take on more work here during this full moon and for the next 28 days until the next one, please do that. You can, multitask very well, but you can get a lot more done than you usually would. Gemini, happy birthday, Gemini. For you, this full moon is really about adding the fire to all of your air, right? So things move much more quickly. So you'll notice that this is a wonderful opportunity to broaden your horizons through learning, building up expert knowledge, and that's knowledge you can acquire and then use to guide yourself moving forward and guide others. So Gemini, the thing you'll want to connect with is information, I feel, in the most traditional sense. If you've considered going back into education, but you haven't known exactly what you should be studying, it will become crystal clear to you here during this full moon. So any part of your life that's been somewhat vague and where you haven't been able to kind of decide one way or another, look at it again during this full moon. You'll come to a really quick, uncomplicated decision. Cancer, you may feel a wonderful sense of accomplishment, immediately followed by what's next. So something is likely to come to a conclusion, to resolve, to be a success, to be finished this week. And the prompt for you is then to gallop off in the next direction straight away. Before you do that though, ask yourself, what dream do I have? What hope for my life do I have that's unlikely to come true? Jump on that and make it happen. Because those are the things that you can really realize, the things that you don't really have full faith in. The full moon in Sagittarius here gives you this overconfidence, and that helps you to tip the scales, confidence versus doubt. So you're able to overpower doubt and really charge ahead. So for you, Cancer, anything is possible. If you can see it in your mind's eye, it's only a matter of time until it shows up in the real world, which is something I said for everybody with the main horoscope, but you particularly will be able to manifest things very, very well. Leo, this full moon is in Sagittarius, so it's like in the sign of your cousin, another fire sign. And because of the closeness, it's going to feel really inspirational to you. I think you'll feel carefree, you'll be energized, you may even feel invincible, joyous, happy. At the same time, anything that gives you a sense of, hey, I'm making progress here, and anything that's kind of like I'm on an adventure, this is a fun process, go with those things. Not only will they be enjoyable and satisfying, they'll also lead you in the right direction. So have fun for the win, basically. So Leo, ask yourself what area of your life you want to move ahead in, what's most important to you right now, whether it's studies, love, career. Pick one and run with it. That applies to everyone, I would say. We have all this great energy, but it's important not to overload yourself, because then you will slow down the progress, and it's one thing after the next. That's what's going to work really well. Virgo, you're going to experience a great sense of confidence, which will be helpful when expressing your ideas and your knowledge and your expertise, right? There may be a tendency to flare up, though, in your case, if you're being challenged, particularly around things that you deem to be trivial, unimportant. So watch out for that. Watch out for potential conflict. But there may also be a sense for you, Virgo, as in, I know everything, I'm not willing to budge, my idea is the right idea. So that's interesting, because I wouldn't say that you're always like that. I would say that you're willing to learn and willing to listen to all the different sides of an argument or a situation, and then come to your own conclusion, right? But often, Virgo can be somewhat doubtful when it comes to its own expertise, despite having acquired all this knowledge. So in your case, there's certainty and this wall coming down, as in, don't interrupt me, don't influence me, don't sway me. If there's anything in your life where you're really apprehensive, as in, oh, I don't know if I should do this, you'll have the confidence to move that forward if it is a dream of yours, if it is something you want to accomplish. When it comes to other people, I would try and not ask for too much help or overshare, because I think what you will resent in a way this week or during this full moon is being lectured or being talked down to. That's not going to work. Instead, kind of connect with your inner voice via this full moon, and that's not going to be interrupted, and take some time to follow that guidance and let that educate you as such. So if your inner voice says, go visit this place or go look at this book, or it would be a good idea to inform yourself about that subject, let yourself be guided and go into this sense of, this is what I'm certain about, no action, but this is where I could learn more, and let yourself go with the flow on that to get a greater sense of knowledge and true education around a particular subject. Libra, you can have a breakthrough during this full moon in Sagittarius by connecting with a group, a university, an organization, the government, any kind of big established group of people, right? If you've been trying to get into any social club or group or community, this is the time to knock on the door again and to have it open for you. Amend previous rejections and replace them with acceptance. So again, it's this idea of, if I have wonderful things in the now, do they outweigh what's happened in the past? Let me know what you think about that. It's the second time it's come up, and I'm not quite sure I'm getting it. Yeah. Scorpio, you'll be very clear on where you're at in your relationships. Who do you want in your life over the next few years, and who's really outstayed their welcome through poor behavior or letting you down? It's the judgment side of things is very accessible to you. And the good thing, I'm laughing because no one likes being judged, right? But like I said before, the judgments that you make about your relationships during this time are going to be reliable and accurate. So you can make room for more happy experiences and more positive people in your life moving forward. And that does sometimes involve being a little harsh and ending something that doesn't work. So if that comes up for you this week, really trust your guts. And if it says end of, then go with that. Yes, it does seem harsh. And you could argue that, you know, if you have that kind of approach, you're going to end up as a very solo person by the end of your life if you cut out anybody. But at the same time, who wants to spend their life being around friends who take advantage of people who ignore you, mistreat you, all of that stuff? So that's a personal decision, but you can really get clear on the connections you already have. Sagittarius, this is your full moon. It gives you a great deal of energy, and it's illuminated by the Gemini sun. So again, it motivates you even more, and it pushes you towards understanding things and learning more and expressing yourself more. It's very, very confidence boosting for you. So it's going to be all about new adventures, finding your own path through life, and getting a sense of enjoyment through this independent working of things. Whatever still needs discovering or exploring in your life, put this at the top of your to-do list and find what you're looking for, either in education, love, health, spirituality, or finance. Just make sure you do one thing at a time. Capricorn, you have a really easy week ahead of you. You may even find it too easy, but the adventure comes to you. If you're a single Capricorn, it's really likely that a new love appears in your life via friends or family or through your work. And you don't need to do anything other than business as usual, and just look out for a wonderful addition that comes into your life during this full moon. So it could be a new love, another person. It could be a subject that's just fascinating, you fall in love with. It could be someone telling you about a place that you now suddenly would love to visit. Just let it come to you, basically. Aquarius, you're an interesting case here. You have the ability to express what you're truly feeling for another person this week, and you'll have a strong desire, particularly to connect to another person. And you can take your relationship to the next level by sharing your true self and having a really kind of intimate moment with another individual, another person, right? But watch out for this. If you find yourself sharing things which are very private, just make sure you're talking to people who will understand what you're talking about, and make sure that you're not revealing uncomfortable truths to people who may then use those truths against you. So basically, don't overshare randomly to people you don't know. And use that openness instead to really become much closer to a person you do know and love. Pisces, you're able to express yourself beautifully this week. You're also creative in a more abstract way, so not just through language and words and art and things like that. You're able to get creative about your circumstances, and you can examine the structures of your life as they are now, work, relationships, and you immediately will understand what you can do in the now to improve these circumstances if they need improving, or you'll become aware of a different way forward that you've never tried. So if a new option appears, trust the message, trust this as a good thing coming in, and go for it. Okay, so I hope that gives you an idea of what you'll be working with here during the full moon in Sagittarius. If you'd like me to analyze your chart the way I did the one you see next to me here, then, or the one you did see next to me here, and please get in touch with me for a personal reading. I just need your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth to draw up your natal chart. Once I've got that, I can analyze the charts and I'll see things like grand trines or grand crosses or yods or T-squares, all of those things. So if you'd like me to have a look at your chart, please do get in touch. If you don't, I don't know if I mentioned this, but if you don't have the time of birth, there's a process called chart rectification that you can also order on my website to get the specific time of birth, which is important because the chart changes every 4 minutes. So just go to gregoryscott.com for all that info. Check out some of my other videos, the weekly horoscopes. I do a daily tarot reading as well on this channel, so please consider becoming a member of the channel. I'm also doing a live tarot reading where I pull one card for people on Wednesdays at 5 o'clock my time, and that's the UK. So if you want to join us for that, you're very welcome. It'd be nice to see you there. Have a wonderful time during this full moon, and I'll speak to you soon.